What if Darth Vader captured and trained Cal Kestis? Cal Kestis sat cross-legged on the floor of the mantis, the hum of hyperspace echoing faintly around him. His breathing was slow, measured, but his thoughts were anything but calm. He stared at the hilt of his lightsaber, his mind replaying the events of the last mission over and over. The chaos, the screams, the way his enemies had fallen before him, almost too easily. He hadn't used the dark side deliberately. At least, that's what he told himself. But when he had been cornered on that Imperial station, surrounded by purge troopers and inquisitors, something inside him had snapped. His anger, his desperation to survive, had boiled over. The Force had surged through him, raw and unfiltered, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. Now, the faces of those he had killed haunted him. Not just the inquisitors, but the stormtroopers, the soldiers who didn't stand a chance against him. He wasn't sure if it was guilt or satisfaction that gnawed at his soul. "I'm losing myself," he whispered, his voice trembling. What would Seer say? What would Merrin say? The thought of Merrin tightened his chest. Her faith in him had always been unshakable. What would she think of him now? He clenched his fists, feeling the dark whispers in the back of his mind, beckoning him to embrace the power he had felt, to stop running, to stop hiding. "Is this who I am?" Cal muttered. Darth Vader stood in his meditation chamber aboard the Executor, the sterile hiss of pressurized air the only sound in the room. His breathing was steady, but his thoughts churned with curiosity and fury. The report from the Imperial station was troubling. A single Jedi had decimated the entire outpost, leaving nothing but ruin in his wake. This Jedi, Cal Kestis, was no ordinary survivor of Order 66. Vader had seen the reports from the Inquisitors, how Kestis had evaded capture time and again, how he had grown stronger with every encounter. And now, it seemed, the boy had tasted the power of the dark side. A faint smile crept beneath Vader's mask, though it carried no warmth. "The dark side already whispers to him," Vader said, his voice a deep rumble. "He has the anger, the pain, the potential." With a flick of his hand, Vader summoned a hollow projection of the galaxy, narrowing in on the most likely destinations for Kestis to flee. His quarry wouldn't be able to run for long. Vader would find him, break him, and mold him into a weapon of the dark side. "Prepare the fleet," Vader commanded. "Cal Kestis will be mine." Cal landed the Mantis on a desolate forest moon, its thick canopies providing cover from Imperial patrols. The crew had split up to avoid detection. Grease had taken the ship to another system for repairs, and Merrin had gone to secure supplies in the nearest settlement. Cal remained behind, seeking solitude to reflect on the turmoil within him. As he meditated, the Force rippled unnaturally around him. A cold chill ran down his spine, and he opened his eyes just as the shadow of an Imperial Star Destroyer darkened the skies above. His heart sank. He ran to the clearing, igniting his lightsaber as he heard the familiar screech of TIE fighters overhead. Moments later, a shuttle descended, its landing ramp extending. From its depths emerged Darth Vader, his towering form radiating menace. "Cal Kestis," Vader intoned, his crimson blade igniting with a hiss. "You cannot run from your destiny." The battle that followed was brutal. Cal fought with every ounce of skill and power he had, but Vader was a relentless force. Every strike of Cal's blade was met with overwhelming strength. Every attempt to retreat was countered by the Dark Lord's mastery of the Force. Vader wasn't trying to kill him. He was testing him, breaking him. When Cal's lightsaber was finally knocked from his hands, and the Force held him immobilized, he understood the full weight of his situation. "You fight well," Vader said, his voice a cold monotone. But your resistance is meaningless. The dark side has already claimed you. Submit, and I will show you its true power." Cal glared up at him, defiance flickering in his eyes. But deep down, he felt the pull. The dark side whispered to him, promising him the strength to survive, to never feel powerless again. "I'll never join you," Cal spat. "You already have," Vader replied, his crimson blade crackling ominously as he subdued Cal. Weeks turned to months as Vader took Cal to Mustafar. There, within the suffocating heat of the Sith Temple, he subjected Cal to grueling trials. Torture, manipulation, and relentless combat broke down the Jedi's resistance. Vader exploited every doubt, every fear, every painful memory, twisting them to serve his purpose. Slowly, Cal succumbed. The power Vader offered was intoxicating. For the first time, Cal felt in control, no longer the prey, but the predator. His lightsaber, now blood-red, became a symbol of his transformation. He was no longer Cal Kestis, Jedi Knight. He was Malice, apprentice to Darth Vader. Vader knew that words and pain were not enough. To truly break Cal, he needed to sever the boy's remaining attachments. "You still cling to weakness," Vader said, standing over his kneeling apprentice in the shadowed chamber of his fortress. "Your ties to the past make you vulnerable. If you are to embrace the dark side, you must destroy them." Vader handed Cal his first true test: kill Merrin. Cal's journey to find Merrin was a torment in itself. He located her on a quiet, uncharted world, where she had been hiding and helping refugees of the Empire. The moment he stepped off his shuttle, Merrin sensed him. Her joy at seeing him quickly turned to dread as she saw the darkness in his eyes. "Cal, what's happened to you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm here to finish what I started," Cal said, igniting his crimson blade. Their battle was fierce, Merrin using her Night Sister magic to evade and counter his attacks. But Cal's training under Vader had made him far more dangerous than she remembered. His strikes were brutal and unrelenting, fueled by anger and pain. "Cal, this isn't you," Merrin cried, dodging a devastating overhead strike. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do," Cal growled, though his voice wavered with uncertainty. In the end, Merrin fell. Her final words, a whisper of forgiveness, cut deeper than any blade. Vader, satisfied with his apprentice's progress, gave him one final mission: capture Luke Skywalker. Cal tracked Luke to a remote world, where the young Jedi was training in solitude. The ruins were ancient, their jagged spires reaching toward the sky like the fingers of a long-forgotten god. The air crackled with tension as Luke Skywalker stepped into the clearing. His senses were on high alert. He could feel the oppressive weight of the dark side bearing down on him. From the shadows emerged Cal Kestis, or what was left of him. The vibrant energy and hope that had once defined the Jedi Knight were gone, replaced by a cold, simmering rage. His armor was sleek and black, his crimson lightsaber humming ominously in the still air. "So, this is the great Luke Skywalker," Cal said, his voice dripping with disdain. "You don't look like much." Luke regarded him calmly, his lightsaber unlit in his hand. "I've heard of you, Cal. You were a survivor, a protector. What happened to you? What happened?" Cal echoed, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. "I woke up. I saw the truth. The Jedi Code, their ideals, it's all weakness. Power is the only thing that matters." Luke took a step forward, his expression steady but compassionate. "That's not true, and deep down you know it. The Jedi weren't perfect, but we stood for hope, for peace. You stood for those things once, too." Cal's grip on his lightsaber tightened. "Don't lecture me," he snarled, lunging forward with a vicious overhead strike. Luke ignited his green blade just in time, the clash of their sabers echoing through the ruins. The force of Cal's attack pushed Luke back, but the Jedi Master shifted his stance, redirecting the momentum and sending Cal stumbling. Cal recovered quickly, his movements a blend of raw power and refined technique. He attacked with a ferocity that spoke of his training under Vader, precise, relentless, and utterly brutal. Luke countered with fluidity, his strikes measured and defensive, like a calm river resisting the storm. "You've been twisted by the dark side," Luke said, deflecting a rapid series of strikes. "This isn't who you are, Cal. This is exactly who I am," Cal shouted, slamming his saber down with enough force to crack the stone beneath their feet. "The dark side gives me strength. It freed me from weakness." "Strength isn't just about power," Luke replied, sidestepping another attack and countering with a swift slash that forced Cal to retreat. "It's about resilience, about standing firm in what you believe. The Cal Kestis I've heard about wouldn't have fallen this far." Cal growled, leaping into the air and crashing down with a heavy strike that Luke barely dodged. The two combatants traded blows with increasing intensity, their movements blurs of light and shadow. Cal's attacks were relentless, his fury driving him forward, but Luke's mastery of the Force and his calm focus allowed him to anticipate and counter each move. "Stop hiding behind your Jedi platitudes," Cal spat, launching a force push that sent Luke skidding backward. "You don't understand what I've been through, what I've lost." "I understand more than you think," Luke said, his voice tinged with sorrow. "I lost my family too." "You don't know me," Cal roared, channeling his anger into a powerful force strike that cracked the ruins around them. The ground shook, and debris rained down as the two warriors continued their duel amidst the chaos. Cal looked up at him, his expression conflicted. The anger was still there, but so was something else, doubt. "You don't understand," Cal muttered, his voice quieter now. "The things I've done, the people I've hurt. There's no coming back from that." Luke knelt in front of him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Everyone deserves a second chance. It's not too late to choose a different path." For a moment, the tension in the air seemed to dissipate. Cal's eyes darted to the ground, his mind racing. Luke's words stirred something deep within him, a memory of who he used to be, of what he used to stand for. But the dark side's hold was strong, and the weight of his actions bore down on him like a crushing tide. I can't," Cal said, pulling away and rising to his feet. Luke stood as well, watching him carefully. "You're stronger than you think, Cal. The dark side wants you to believe you're trapped, but you're not. The choice is always yours." Cal hesitated, his fists clenched. "I don't know who I am anymore." "You'll find your way," Luke said, stepping back. "When you're ready." Cal turned without another word, his mind a storm of conflict. He couldn't return to Vader, not after this. And yet, he wasn't ready to let go of the darkness that had become his shield. As he disappeared into the shadows, Luke watched him go, a mixture of hope and sorrow in his heart. Cal Kestis retreated to Tanalorr, seeking refuge on the hidden world he had once dreamed of as a sanctuary. There, he began the long process of rediscovering himself, grappling with the light and darkness within. Though his journey was far from over, one thing was certain. The encounter with Luke Skywalker had planted a seed, a reminder of the Jedi he used to be, and the man he could become once more. Drop the scenarios you would like to see in the comments, and I will pick one every week. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.